Okay. Boom. There it is. Okay. Hold on. Your mic's on. Fine. Just make sure you talk directly into the microphone. Folks, our guests are here. You guys don't have a lot of time, right? You pull it up in front of you, like all the way. And yeah, if you speak into it, you should be fine. This is where you can see yourself. And yeah, we're live already. I was talking about the recent wave of Catholicism converts happening in the Brooklyn podcasting scene. Some really niche shit. But yeah, not one but two guests. What's going on? This is the Amazon Labor Union is in the building, everybody. Introduce yourselves.
Yeah, this is the president, Chris Smalls, founder of TCOEW, former Amazon employee. I'm here with my younger brother.
Demetrius.
Pull it up more. Yep, right into it. You got to speak right into it. It's like, unfortunately, it doesn't catch everything. And I'll actually, here, let's do a sound test real quick, actually. For you, Demetrius. 1 second. What are you guys doing out in LA while I pull this up? You've been here for a while, right?
Yeah, I've been here since Friday. It's like a LA takeover, man. I've been doing conferences, speaking engagements, tapping in with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of events planned up for the whole weekend, actually, leading up into the weekend. So just really enjoying LA for the first time since the pandemic.
Yeah. You recently were a part of a picket for the strippers union that's happening, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see if I can find that real quick.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Strippers United.
What are some of the things that you're doing? What are some of the things that you're doing out here? Like, what can people look forward to see you? And I'm gonna tweet this out real quick as well.
Oh, well, so what I got planned, I got a event tomorrow night. I posted on my social media, and then also Friday, there's an event going on that everybody can purchase tickets to.
I'll be there as well.
A little secret, and yeah, those are two open to the public events that people can still get involved and show up to. So I'm looking forward to that, and other than that, I'll just be chilling, like just enjoying the California vibes.
Hell yeah. Okay. So we didn't actually do any prep whatsoever. I just kind of dropped you into this. Have you done like a live thing like this before? With real-time feedback?
No, I mean, this is crazy. I'm just in.
It can be a little discombobulating, so don't worry about it. It's just don't read chat and you'll be fine. there's like 34,000 people in here right now.
It's all good. I mean, they ain't expecting me to be on Twitch.
Yeah, this is. I mean, listen. I am Jeff Bezos' most loyal soldier, if you will. In the building, talk about unionizing, solidarity, more. Okay. You don't fuck with Twitch at all, right?
Nah. I mean,
do you know anything about it?
I don't really know too much about. I mean, I know that it's very popular amongst gamers, and I definitely a big time gamer. I've been a.
What do you play?
Sony PlayStation all day. I'm 90s baby, so when it comes to games, and I used to play a little bit online, but
I'm a 90s baby too. 91.
Nice.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. I grew up. I mean, I never had a PlayStation 1. PlayStation 2 was the first ever console I had. I fucked with PSP heavy when that came out, but my parents wouldn't let me really play that much. But Metal Gear Solid was, I think, like a big influence in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so you've done some stuff. You've done some crazy things. You did the unthinkable. You used to work at an Amazon distribution facility. For those of you who don't know, you got fired from the Amazon distribution facility for trying to for speaking out against the COVID and workplace safety violations, right?
Right.
And then I remember covering it while that was happening. I remember talking about it where they even went so far as to besmirch you and talk shit about you, and even go into like antiquated tropes, saying like you're a dumb, angry black man, right? Like the Amazon executives were talking about you, and then you came back with a vengeance and actually unionized said distribution facility. You've talked about this a million times over, probably, but it bears repeating to just like give a quick summarization of events and how it happened, if you don't mind.
Yeah, definitely. For those who don't know, on March 30th, 2020, I led a walkout outside of Staten Island JFK 8 over COVID-19. And 2 hours after that, I was fired, catapulted into the media. And a week after that, Jeff Bezos had his general counsel hold a meeting, calling me not smart or articulate. Ironically, they also said to make me the face of the whole unionizing efforts. So I took that as a good idea. And I traveled the country protesting in front of Jeff Bezos' mansions and penthouses from the East Coast to the West Coast. And we came back in April of, actually 420. 420 is the birthday for the ALU. 42021, we started to organize outside of JFK, the same facility that I was fired from. We spent 11 months out there. I spent over 300 days at the bus stop, signing workers up, talking to them every day. And on April 1st, 2022, we were the first union in American history as we formed and voted, for over 8,300 people.
Hell yeah. So some of the things I want to ask you, and you can choose to not answer if you want to, but some of the things I wanted to ask you is like why, for example, you chose to go with a new union rather than work with other established unions. And the reason why I want to ask you this is because like I think we have seen a lot of success in new unions. Starbucks is a great example of this as well. And Amazon Labor Union is its own independent union, right? What were some of the struggles building that up from the ground up, and also why was that your preference ultimately?
Well, it hasn't been done in 28 years. Amazon's been around, and established unions been around even longer than that. So for us, going this route, creating something from the ground up, grassroots, putting workers in the driver's seat, that was the best thing that we could have done going up against Amazon. We are actual Amazon workers. We know the ins and outs of the company. We know the grievances. We live them. And who better than us? We understand the language. We understand what the Amazon workers go through. And for us, it was a no-brainer. We visited the RWDSU down in Alabama. We learned some things, and we saw some missed opportunities that we felt that we could do better. And we tried, to do it our way, and it worked.
What would you say were some of the issues with the Bessemer unionization efforts, in your opinion? If you don't, obviously those guys were doing a great job. Like, I think we're all of the same mindset here that like any kind of unionization effort is still good. Ultimately, organizing your workplace is incredibly important, especially because it's the only way to push back against your bosses and have some level of autonomy in your life, and it starts in the workplace. But what do you think were some of the mistakes in Bessemer in comparison to what you were able to pull off in New York?
Well, number one, the first campaign, they had different organizers, but they just didn't have enough of the inside influence the way we did. The second time around, they obviously didn't make that same mistake. So I'm glad to see that they are continuing that fight down there anyway. But the first time around, it got a lot of attention, rapidly, a lot of political influence. And the one thing about being an Amazon worker is, we're so disconnected from any type of media or any type of outside influence That didn't resonate the first time around. They had to have more of an inside presence, and that's one mistake that we didn't make with our campaign. We made sure that we build the inside presence up to get to a point where the workers on the inside start to organize themselves.
What do you think are some of the what do you think are some of the main issues with respect to like salting, or with respect to like understanding specific localities and specific distribution facilities that actually, this is a hurdle that you have to overcome as well. What do you think are some of the biggest hurdles that you have to overcome when you're trying to unionize a different distribution facility? Like, how do you tackle the problem of not being directly from inside of the warehouse itself?
Yeah, it's a slow process, but you know, you have to be resilient. You know, they're gonna have some days where you're gonna take some L's. You know, you're gonna have some losses, and you're gonna be discouraged because nobody talked to you, or you didn't sign anybody up in that one day. But it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know, you just got to be out there. You got to be ready for when that worker is ready to come to you. It's not always about talking about unionizing right away, too. You know, sometimes you just got to connect with people on a personal level, talk to them about issues at home, bring them into a conversation where they feel comfortable, and then you can start to, you know, educate them on what it is to be in the union and talk about labor and the issues that's going on in the workplace. So for us, you know, it was just about earning the trust, building relationships. And over time, we showed people that the culture that we're creating is way better than what Amazon is offering.
Yeah.
So for any facility, they can copy and paste exactly what we did. Of course, different parts of the country are going to have to obviously organize differently because of, you know, the demographics. But the culture is the same thing. You know, we care for one another, we love one another, and we show our coworkers that we're always going to be there. That's what a union is. A union is a family, and that's what the culture of the ALU provides when we're in any type of facility.
All right, perfect. Do you feel like I mean, how do you feel about all the media coverage that you've gotten? Was that expected? Or did that shock you? Did that surprise you?
It comes with the territory. I mean, you know, I know that my story is compelling just because of the fact that I was fired, and I'm, you know, obviously been doing this only for a short 2 years. So to hit the media the way I did, the timing of everything, you know, it was just expected to come, of course, when our victory happened as well.
Yeah. Is there any pushback against that sort of thing? Are people criticizing you for that? Because you do have bold style, which I personally appreciate. Like you're wearing Versace glasses. You know what I mean? Like I like that. I think that's cool. I think that is normal because like normal people do obviously still subscribe to the same same, I guess some would say, pro consumerist dynamics, right? But I think it's, you know, life is short, and if you want to be dripped out, you should be able to do so. You have a jacket too. You want to show your?
Oh yeah, of course. It is.
Yeah. Do you feel like that is do you feel like that goes against your, like, the values that you promote?
No, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I myself and everybody should be themselves. You know, this is who I was before, you know, any of this happened to me. You can ask my brother right here. He known me my whole life, you know, so there's no difference. You know, I've always been this way. So I understand this pushback, and I understand people have this perception that, you know, a union president has to wear suit and tie. You know, I got a lot of heat for going to the White House and doing all of this and that, but it's important that people realize that I come from the community. I represent the community that is the style that we like. And this is a new time. It's a new generation. You know, it's a bunch of dinosaurs in office, a bunch of dinosaurs in leadership, and they have to get out the way. You know, the younger generation, the new school labor movement, this is what it looks like. and they have to get used to it. It's going to make people feel uncomfortable, but oh well, so be it. You know, we have to be ourselves. That's important. You know, not to lose our identity, and you know, I just continue to be myself no matter what.
I agree. Obviously, I agree for similar reasons. I mean, you have actually done things. I'm just a Twitch streamer ultimately, and I mean, I can only urge people to go out and organize, and there's plenty of organizers in our community as well. But it is I think a reactionary framing, a right-wing framing that even leftists themselves adopt sometimes without recognizing, when they literally are like, "Oh, why aren't you subscribing to the idea that being a leftist or working or advocating for workers' rights implies that you have to subscribe to a poverty cult?" And I don't think that's the case. So I do agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we deserve to have vacations. We deserve to be able to go to the mall and ball out. You know, as part of the working class, you know, we work hard, and we deserve to have a lifestyle where, you know, a quality of life where we can afford the finer things. You know, it's not just for us to just go window shopping all the time. So,
yeah, I agree. So one thing I want to ask you, the Amazon distribution facility that you were able to unionize is predominantly black and brown, right?
yeah.
And that is something that is not even unique, as a matter of fact. But if you were to look at the media, or if you were to look at the coverage around unions, oftentimes people, possibly for nefarious reasons, say that like unionization and labor unions and like leftist associations, leftist values are predominantly a white working class thing. When in fact, if you look at unionization numbers, the black labor population has a higher percentage of union participation than the white labor population, actually, in the United States of America. And even then, it's incredibly low numbers, obviously. I think the overall unionization rate in our workforce is one of the lowest in OECD nations. It's even lower than Chile, a country who we eviscerated personally with our neoliberal economics, who used the entire country as basically a testing ground for neoliberalism. We're currently at 10% across the board. But one, why do you think such negative perceptions exist? Do you think that is actually impactful overall? And how do you overcome it?
Well, number one, essential workers across the country, well, majority black and brown and immigrant. And, you know, that's the demographics of all or most these Amazon facilities. You know, so when we're talking about liberation, we're talking about generational wealth, we're talking about, you know, fighting for our fair share, fighting for a decent quality of life. Unionizing is really the basis of how we get there. You know, now that's why we're seeing all these different industries start to organize, not just Starbucks, but Trader Joe's, the Google workers, the coal miners, all of these other industries that are still fighting and striking. They're all the same fight. We're all the same struggle. You know, we just have to continue to build off of that. You know, the teachers are starting to pick up, especially right here in California. We have to really fight the onslaught of what's the real war outside. And that is that billionaires are pouring millions and billions of dollars into organized labor, to fight against organized labor. And to free our people, to free ourselves, we have to do it ourselves. We can't rely on anybody else. So just bringing together all these different industries, bringing together all these different movements, that's the only way we're going to be able to get to a point where, you know, I've been mentioning for several weeks now, what's going to have to happen in this country is a general strike. And hopefully one day, hopefully soon, that all the unions in the country can come together on the same accord. And I know I'm willing to do that as the president of the Amazon Labor Union, is to withhold our labor, you know? So that's the moment in time that we're in right now.
Let's talk about that. let's wait. We're gonna talk about the More Perfect Union and the coverage that they did.
Yeah.
In a second, but let's talk more about that. Withholding your labor. Why is that so important?
Think about it.
It's pretty basic stuff, I know, but this is important for because there's a lot of younger people in here as well that for them to understand.
Absolutely. Just think about the fact that we had to witness abortion rights be taken away from women, the gun laws, children getting murdered, black families being destroyed, murdered in Buffalo. All the things that's going on in this country right now, climate, the planet is literally dying, gas prices, rent control, student loans, the list goes on. And everybody just continues to go to work. We have a short attention span, especially in this country, even when it comes to social injustice, the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Everybody thinks that these issues go away once the court cases are over and everybody gets settlements. But it's not. These issues still remain. People still get gunned down. Police are still shooting black men down, killing people. So there's so many issues that we can withhold our labor for. The problem is that we're in a country where everybody's divided. Everybody is so divided that we're in-house fighting. We're fighting over issues that we can get over, and we're not focusing on the enemy. But meanwhile, the enemy they're organizing. They're organizing. That's how January 6th happened. That's how they plan the things that they have when it comes to elections and presidencies. We have to do the same thing on our side. And it's time for all the unions in the country. It's time for the working class, and that's everybody, whether you're employed or unemployed, to realize the value of our worth. Being called an essential worker, meaning if I'm essential, that means I'm a necessity. If you need me, that means you got to pay me and treat me as such. And we can't go back to what we saw pre-pandemic. That's not life, and that was never life. We know our worth now. We know that we deserve not just $15 an hour, but twice that, $30 an hour. There's so many things that we can fight for. But the only way to get there is by taking it. We're not going to give it. We're not going to get. We're not going to have people give it to us. We're not going to have billionaires give it to us. We're not going to have politicians give it to us. Working class people have to stand up and take it. And the only way we do that is by withholding our labor.
Yeah. And if they were magnanimous, if they were kind, they would not ensure that your wages are as low as possible to ensure their profit margins remain intact. Obviously, if they were kind people, if that's how, if capitalism was built around, wealthy people being kind to you personally, then they would have done that already, but they haven't, and it's never going to happen. That's not how this works. So you have to go out and fight for it. This was kind of funny. I'm sure you've seen this already, but there was a leaked Amazon memo that warned that the company is running out of people to hire because of their turnover, their insanely high turnover rate, which is built into their profit margin. And also they have basically become a victim of their own success because they are everywhere. And in all low income neighborhoods, if you've gone through the entire workforce, you're going to eventually run out of people to consistently keep hiring.
The craziest shit, 1 out of every 4 Americans is going to work for Amazon.
Yeah.
In the next couple of years. 1 out of every 4. You're going to know somebody or work at Amazon.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So now this is a major crisis. Also, this is a perfect union, more perfect union video that I wanted to watch. We can watch it together if you don't mind. Did coverage in Albany. More than 100 ambulances have rushed to treat injured Amazon workers in Albany over the past 18 months alone. And workers describe a dangerous warehouse and relentless pressure to meet quotas and disregard for safety. It's one reason why they're unionizing.
Yeah, shout out to Heather.
Yeah.
My peoples.
Let's take a look at this.
Was driving this 8,000-pound piece of equipment, and he was struggling to get the harness on. On break, he was sitting down, and I went over and I said, "Hi, how are you feeling today?" And he said, "I'm okay." And he had a little bit of a slurred speech, so he started to tell me how, he suffered a stroke in the warehouse on Thanksgiving. I couldn't believe that there was no support for him. Nobody seemed to care. And he came right back to operate that piece of machinery that he suffered a stroke on. So at that moment, everything changed for me. The injuries are on a daily basis.
Injuries are so common. I don't know how many people have left in ambulances.
Of course, this is baked in to the profit margin that we were speaking about, where it's cheaper basically to have an ambulance like cut out a deal with a private EMT service than to actually ensure workplace safety and not like push workers inside of these distribution facilities to the edge where they are making dangerous mistakes. Because, again, they are seen as replaceable. And this was another common thing that happened in another distribution facility, if I recall, where I believe that instead of, those facilities don't have AC in it, right? There's no climate control inside of them, and the facilities get like incredibly hot.
Some of them, yeah. There's been reports in certain parts of the country, yeah, they don't have any AC.
Yeah, and it's cheaper to just send people. It's cheaper to send people than completely reorient the distribution facility to ensure that there's AC or like adequate protection from the heat. When you suffer from heat stroke, they just send you out in an ambulance, and then that's actually cheaper. Yeah.
I was going to say the problem with most of these buildings is there's so much machinery in there, 16 miles of conveyor belts that's running 24/7. So the heat in the buildings just circulates, and they have buildings that have 4 floors, so the heat rises. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how much the building is controlled under weather, they can't calculate that heat that's coming off the machines, and people they suffer these type of injuries.
Yeah.
I am what they call a picker. I drive a pit machine, which is an 8,000-pound piece of equipment that we take into the aisles and we retrieve items.
I am a packer. I make sure that the packages get sent out to dock on time.
I am a packer and a slammer. It's at the slam station where it gets the shipping label. And then the slammer weighs the package, puts it on another conveyor where it goes up and around the facility and eventually ends up at the docks.
As a picker, I have to retrieve 45 items an hour. And that includes all of those heavy pieces of equipment, auto equipment, dressers, fireplaces, vacuums, air conditioners, you name it.
Quota, make sure we get the priorities out.
The injuries are definitely affected by these quotas and by the stress.
We're moving boxes that are, teeny tiny little things up to supposedly 50 pounds, but I can't tell you how many countless times I've had to lift boxes 60, 70, 80 pounds.
As I was driving this 8,000-pound piece of equipment to retrieve items, I noticed that there was wires, metal wires sticking out in what we call the very narrow aisles. So I may lean to the side to see if I can get a better visual. However, that better visual could result in this wire taking my eye out.
Look at the boxes protruding out of the aisles and the condition of the boxes, because the aisles are so narrow. The shelves are overstuffed to the point where there are shelves that are collapsing, items that are falling off the shelves onto employees at, I believe it's up to 28 feet.
I started September 13th. By the end of October, I was in the emergency room. I literally fell on the floor one day. I could not stand up. I could not stand up straight. I just was laying there in severe pain. Somebody said, go get AmCare. AmCare walks down about 10 minutes later without a wheelchair. I drove myself to the ER and did find out that I did have a hernia and had to have surgery.
One of the women in the facility had a severe head injury that she had to be carried out in an ambulance.
I would drive home from work and I would have to sit in my car for a minute and sometimes literally lift my legs up and lift my legs out of the car because I just couldn't move them. They just wouldn't work. And just walking up the stairs, it was constant pain, absolutely constant pain.
You know, I use my legs all the time to lift. I go home with bruises on my thighs. It looks like I've been beaten.
We've had over 100 EMS responses to the building, and a majority is dehydration or employees passing out because they're afraid if you drink more water, then you go to the bathroom. If you go to the bathroom, then you're going to be written up for time off task.
You can get extremely hot in there. It can get up, you can usually feel like it's somewhere around 80, 90 degrees.
When I came back from COVID after 3 weeks, and I was staring at a sign that said, no more COVID pay, no excuses, I literally thought I was being punked. HR was as serious as could be and said, we're not paying COVID anymore. I called the New York State Department of Health, confirmed, yep, they are going to get their COVID pay, and that was when I went into battle. That's when I went into battle and I started building the arsenal, and my arsenal I knew had to protect these people.
I want to see that people are cared about. That is my biggest thing. I get upset when I'm walking down and I feel like these people feel oppressed.
These people are my family, so now the fight is for them and for us.
So one of the immediate reactions from Amazon and also from Starbucks as well against the unionization efforts has been to quickly and promptly fire the individuals that are seen as the organizers, right? But outside of that, which by the way should be technically protected by some regulatory agency, the NLRB, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to have some kind of rule against that, right? How do you think they get around it?
Well, Amazon knows, and these corporations know that these process takes forever. So firing, organizers and retaliating against them, it takes nearly 2 years, just to get results, get settlements or get 10Js passed. So for them, breaking the law is on the norm. They're going to continue to do it because they know that it's going to take forever. And that is another reason why unionization is incredibly important, so that there is some kind of control mechanism, some level of pushback, because expecting the Democratic Party to do something nice for the working class because they're fearful that you might not vote for them next time around is a silly notion. And that's precisely why I always stress the importance of organizing, because even if you want to get the Democratic Party to do something, do the right thing, and actually push for some legislative change, that's only going to happen if there is enough power, if there is enough worker power, if there's enough momentum around organizing. There's no other way to do it. They're never going to do it because, as we all know, the Democratic Party, they work with the same consultants that are union busters, right? I mean, they have the same lawyers that are inside of the Biden White House even. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Jen Psaki literally working for one of those union busting law firms before moving into the White House, originally as a press secretary? So these are the same people, and the same people that speak out in the media that come across like they are completely unaffiliated with the structure, with this mechanism of power, are still absolutely getting paid to do PR, to do consulting for the exact same firms, for the exact same union busting law firms. So that is, that even if it doesn't seem like it on its face, this entire system is designed to churn out these kinds of results.
What I want to ask you specifically is, what are some of the most common anti-union tactics that you see? Like, what are the most common union busting tactics that companies like Amazon and other companies implement?
Well, just creating doubt amongst the workers. That's the only thing that is their objective, really, when it comes to union buster, is to create doubt that the union is actually going to do anything for the workers. So same thing with Starbucks. They send letters out to all the employees, making it seem like, well, if you unionize, you're not going to get these benefits. They could go away. So they already have started doing that. They also, shut down certain stores. Amazon doing the same thing. They withdrew a couple of leases that they had for buildings that they were going to build. They threatened to even, possibly shut down buildings because they don't need them anymore. Things like that, and creating that doubt that, the union actually won their election. They haven't even recognized the fact that they lost. Same thing with Starbucks in over 215 stores now. They haven't been recognized. So for us, it's like we don't exist, but we know that the unions and the movement that we have is not going anywhere.
They also say that they're a family, right? Like that they have your best interests at heart, and that the union is an outside third party. One of the, Alex Press as well, friend of the show, Alex Press, once corrected me adequately on this broadcast when I used the term union boss, which inherently is a right-wing framing on union leadership, which is democratically organized, as opposed to boss, which is a capitalist concept, which is undemocratic. Even little things such as that play that exact same role. I feel like companies will regularly ascribe values that they have internally to the union.
Yeah.
Make it seem like it's an outside source. It's not comprised of. And by the way, watch out for your phone because the camera's up there. But just making sure that the union is comprised of not actual workers themselves from the facilities, from the companies themselves, but instead from outside people. What is a good way to combat that? Also, do you guys want something to drink? I have a fuckload of different sodas.
Oh shit!
I didn't even I didn't even mention that because I wanted to get immediately into it, and I'm a little. I don't usually have a lot of guests on, so
Nah, it's all good.
what do you guys want? I have literally every different kind of Mountain Dew Zero, Diet Mountain Dew.
I'll take a regular one.
I don't have any regular Mountain Dew. I just have Diet Mountain Dew Zero, Mountain Dew Baja Blast. That's also Diet, Diet Coke. Everything is Diet.
Oh, I'm all right for now. I'm good.
Damn it.
Good,
Okay.
yeah. But thank you. Appreciate.
Do you want
it.
water?
I'll take some water. Yeah.
Okay, there's some water down here. Hold on.
Hell yeah.
You guys don't fuck with diet sodas?
Nah. Shit, man. I'm already skinny as a motherfucker.
It might watch out. It might it's filled to the brim.
It's all good. Gotcha.
So you only drink diet soda?
Yeah, I only drink diet soda. I'm a diabetes baby. My whole family is diabetic.
Okay.
So I don't have it, but for that reason, I just I guess I got used to drinking diet beverages my entire life. So regular beverage I don't really like. It's too sweet for me.
Got you.
Yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, the unions are outsiders. What are some good ways to combat that rhetoric?
So yeah, it was hard for Amazon to do that. They tried to say that AOU is a third party, and we're like, motherfuckers, we're standing right here. That's why it's important that you build your campaign to the point where the workers on the inside are militant to the point where it's a collective. It's showing strength in numbers when you go march on the boss or you go into these captive audiences, showing that there's workers here that's leading this fight. You can't come across as a third party. It's impossible. Even though they try to demonize the organizers, they're going to demonize myself. They're going to demonize the leaders of the movement. You have to just prove otherwise. You have to show and prove that this is not what they say they are. You have to be there for the workers to have several conversations. You have to debunk every lie that they're going to spread. They spread lies like every single week about what unions don't do, and they try to once again create that fear and that doubt amongst the workplace. So just showing the workers a militancy, showing up with your shirts, your pins, your buttons, showing the workers that there's strength in numbers. Over time, they will have to adapt to that culture and just once again stay resilient. There's going to be days where you're going to feel defeated. There's going to be days where it's overwhelming. It's going to be stressful. But if you can stay resilient through the whole way, you will be victorious.
Yeah. Shit. Well, this is a union busting bingo card. You got cards are legally binding. The union is a third party, as we covered already. Cards are legally binding. Restricted job titles and duties. You'll have to rescind your cards as a supervisor. You will have to strike. Less chance of promotion. One of the things that I covered this sort of stuff a lot. I researched stuff a lot. One of the things I always am shocked by is how difficult it is to communicate to every single person that's working inside of the corporate structure that the people telling you all of this and saying that if the union comes in, they might negotiate for less money, as a matter of fact, which is ridiculous, obviously. Both completely untrue as far as like actual data goes, but also ridiculous specifically because they are the ones who hold all the cards. They are the ones who would lower your price, lower your wages if they wanted to, and they do it regularly. They are the ones who have all of the power, and the union is simply a mechanism of pushback. It's not even, there's no ideological binding, even though it is associated closely with like leftist movements historically, but it's just right. It is just the right thing to do. It is just the just thing to do. What would you say to give us a chance to fix things, or no raises during negotiations? This could hurt your career. What are some of the most adequate ways that you've dealt with?
So we give them the facts. First of all, every unionized worker in the country makes roughly $11,000 to $12,000 more than ununionized workers. So that's going to kill half of that anyway. This is untrue. We would tell the workers, go outside and ask your bus driver what's their hourly wage. Bus drivers in New York making over $30 an hour. Most of them $35, $40 an hour. Their overtime's like $70, $75. They have a pension. They have job security. They have great health benefits. They have free college for themselves and their children. These are all the things that all established unions in this country provide. So just debunking that, showing workers that if you negotiate a contract, we can negotiate what we want for the company to provide for us, our protections. And that's, once again, an easy conversation when it comes to Amazon, as you mentioned, at-will company that can change their policies anytime they feel like it. They can miscommunicate or not communicate at all. And that happens all the time. People get fired by an app, the A to Z app. They get fired before they even show up to work. They get fired by email. They get fired with no human contact. And we have to represent ourselves with the union. The union is our representation. And that won't happen if you have a unionized shop. You'll be able to argue your case. You'll be able to have representation. You'll be able to have an arbitration. And you'll be able to have your job at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay. Outside of unions, this is going to come across like a silly question a little bit, but outside of unions, I feel like, and this kind of plays into some like Twitter spats that have been going on about DSA LA specifically, like not having a lot of black membership. What do you think is an adequate way, or where do you think like leftist organizing fails with respect to reaching out to black and brown workforces, and how can that change?
So I just think for any org that wants to be on the side of labor, which I think everybody agrees on the issues and the things that we're fighting against, they have to just stop talking about it so much and just fucking do it. You know, that's what I noticed with a lot of people. It's just everybody wants to talk about, you know, supporting, but don't actually want to do the work. You know, I don't know any other union president that would spend 300 days at a bus stop or more, but I did that because I felt that was the right thing to do. I didn't have anybody tell me, like, this is how you need to organize or this is what you should be doing. I did it because I just went out there and I got to work. And that's the same thing for any organization, especially DSA, that stands in solidarity with workers. You know, all you got to do is get out there, go on the picket line. As soon as I pulled up to LA, the first thing I did was show up to Star Garden and get on the picket line with Strippers United. Nobody told me to do it. I just showed up. So if you show up, the best availability is accountability. Vice versa, the best accountability is being available. So just show up for your comrades, show up for labor. There's demonstrations that's going all over California right now. Stores or Starbucks that's on strike. The strippers are out there every day. They've been on strike for the last 2 months. They have strike funds. They have donations. They're going to start to hear about some Amazon facilities. I'm going to be connecting with some Amazon workers here while I'm in town. And you're going to start to see things that they're going to need help for. Just get out there and get on the line.
Perfect. Okay. But what about introductory? Like, as far as, do you feel like there is like a negative association with unionization or the leftist movement overall on the ground with respect to like real people working inside of facilities? Or do you think that's just like extremely online shit that people should be avoiding?
Yeah, I think we get caught up in the online bullshit. You know, it's easy to do that. It's really easy to sit on Twitter and, you know, tweet all day and debate all day.
I agree.
It's really hard to actually get out there and put in the work, you know, and that's, you know, if you look at even me, for example, you know, people get on my ass about me going to the Times 100 Met Gala and taking a picture with Zendaya, right?
Okay, that's like, what are you gonna not take a fucking photo with Zendaya?
So yeah,
it's so stupid. People are ridiculous. They always fucking act like, okay, listen,
I got co-opted.
They always fucking act like they would be different in that situation. It's like, what the fuck do you mean? It's Zendaya. Like you're not Union Jesus. You know what I mean? There's no, even Jesus would take a fucking photo with Zendaya, by the way. Okay, and anyone who says that that's not true is fucking lying to themselves and everyone else. Right. Okay, that shit pisses me off whenever people are like, wow, you went to Coachella? Like, yeah, of course I went to Coachella. What do you mean? I like to have fun. I think everyone should be able to have fun. That's the whole purpose.
Right.
Sorry.
No, I get it, yo, and that's how I feel. It's like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like, I took a picture with, she's fucking my celebrity crush for all I care. Like, this is the shit that we deal with. But what I'm saying is, you know, we can't get caught up in that. You know, we can't get caught up with the online shit. It's like, since I took that picture with Zendaya, I done been to 20-something cities. I done talked to thousands of union members. I done launched about 5 campaigns now. So it's like, this is what I've done in the last 2 months. Not just take a picture with Zendaya. What the fuck did you do in the last 2 months? And people got to ask themselves that. And that's the difference. It's like, oh, well, I've been tweeting for the last 2 months. You ain't been doing shit. If I can do it, there's nothing stopping anybody from doing exactly what I did. So, you know, we just have to just forget about social media. We use it as a tool to connect. But the real work is going to start with your shop. It's going to start with yourselves. You got to get out there and do the work. You can't just talk
Wreckers. Shut the fuck up.
You know, so that's it. Just get out there and do it.
Okay, perfect. What else? I mean, you don't have a lot of time left here, so I'm just like trying to go through all the things I wanted to ask you. And there's a lot more that we could talk about, which we can do at a different time as well. You're a busy guy. You're fucking,
man. This LA trip was different. You know, last time I was here, I was at Basil's $165 million mansion over here in Beverly Hills, and that was 2 years ago. So to be back and actually tap in with the community and get to do all these events is great.
What do you think about Mick Lynch? Are you familiar with him? RMT guy in the UK.
Oh yeah,
the bald dude who's just fucking ripping everybody.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping, you know, one day we'll have a conversation. I'm pretty sure it'll happen in the near future. Getting a lot of.
I could try to get you connected with the the Corbin people.
Yeah.
When I was out there, I was supposed to link up with them. But unfortunately, I was not able to because I had to move to Amsterdam for a conference. But where is the? Does anyone have the? Does anyone have that video chat? The RMT General Strike video. I think there was a video that came out, right? I just wanted to show that. Or convention, not conference. Sorry. Oh, shut the fuck up, chat. Look at this. Do you see this? This is what bunch of fucking babies. This is what I have to deal with all goddamn day. Any tips on organizing in your workspace if it's in the tech industry? Instead of writing conference and making fun of me, how about you fucking send me the link? One of you dummies in here. The 32,000 of you.
Yeah, you know, tech workers, they have a real direct access to upper management. So start those petitions, some email threads. If you see any type of actions going on, get involved. You know, but send those letters to the boss. You have access to them that we don't in the warehouses. So definitely send petitions, email threads, email chains, whatever y'all want to call it, sick out days. Do what y'all can as well so that we can have that solidarity.
Oh, here it is. This is Mick Lynch. We've been covering him a lot as well. He's a union leader out in the UK for the RMT. They've been striking rail workers.
Would you call for a general strike?
Well, we'll call for generalised action and synchronised responses from the trade union movement.
A general strike.
We will have to have it because people will not be able to put up with this level of.
Can I just be clear? You would, if necessary, as far as you're concerned, if you think it's necessary, call for a general strike.
The TUC can call a general strike, not me. If they call it, we'll support it. Absolutely.
But are you pushing for that?
But we need a firm response from the trade unions to get the British working class a pay increase to deal with this poverty crisis. But we also need to tackle housing costs, interest rates, and food poverty.
Would you call for?
So, I mean, the whole point, like, one of the things that I have seen in American media in comparison to the British media is that, like, there isn't like almost immediate hostility towards labor unions, and because it's such a new thing almost, because like union labor movements have been eviscerated so thoroughly here that the media kind of doesn't even fucking realize like how to combat it as effectively as like the British media does. And I feel like that's a unique opportunity because there's a multi-billion-dollar propaganda apparatus that is not working actively against you. And I think that's part of the reason why you're able to part of the reason is like the New York Times doesn't have, I think the New York Times has like a couple labor writers, but they're not even like full-time labor writers, right? Which is insane. Like that to me, that shows how successful capital has been in this ongoing battle of destroying any sort of like labor momentum in this country historically. But I think because of that, you see more immediate and direct hostility, whereas I do fear that will start developing and cultivating here in the United States as well. Like old school Fox broadcasts, like you see guys like Steven Crowder, who would go out and like agitate against union organizers. Yeah. Now you have the right wing also adopting the pro-worker, pro-labor union narrative, the pro-labor union language, which is, of course, interesting. Actually, you know what? Instead of showing you the Mick Lynch video, I'm going to show you one of my favorites. What do you think about this? What do you think about Steven Crowder? Do you know who that is?
Nah.
No? I love that. Your brain is so not broken from all this online shit. It's great. Here. Steven Crowder is a right-wing broadcaster, okay? This is back from 2012. He now, of course, just like the rest of the fucking right-wing media, has like adopted the aesthetics of being pro-worker, right-wing populist messaging to be like, oh yeah, we love our workers, and that usually just means like, that usually comes with the presupposition that like every worker is like kind of racist, and that's why we're actually on the side of workers, not these like liberal academics. But here, I want to show you this video here.
What is it about right to work that you oppose so much? Whatever you oppose about right to work is because it's the freedom to freeload. They can suck all of the parasitical benefits and the hard wages that unions have negotiated, and they get it for free.
Already destroyed 110. Leave the 10 alone.
Get the f out of my face! Don't tear down the tent! Get the out of my face! You hurt a lady in there! You're addressing me! I ain't hurt nobody! You hurt the out of my face! Back the up! Stop tearing down the tent! Back the up! Okay! You just assaulted me,
Because you just assaulted me. Bitch. One of my favorite fucking videos. Look at that. Look at the tactical defense maneuver here. Like that. I mean, he's a gigantic piece of shit who simulated the George Floyd execution on YouTube. Still not banned from YouTube, by the way. He literally had like someone stand on his neck to say that, like, oh, you know, that's not to cast doubt on George Floyd's execution by the police.
Every time.
I agree.
I'll kill a motherfucker with a gun! I killed 20 motherfuckers with a gun!
Anyway, that was that's just a fun little. That's just a fun little thing that I like to watch every time I feel down. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's take a look at this one. Mick Lynch talking about a potential general strike. Enough is enough.
People are fed up with the way they're treated at work. We need to turn that mood into real organisation on behalf of the working class.
Enough is enough.
There's always another crisis, and it's always workers who pay the price. We've suffered the biggest pay squeeze in history, and workers become all about working harder and faster for less. And now they want you to pay for it all again. Well, it's time somebody else paid the price.
Things can't go on like this. Record profits for big business, record number of billionaires, record wealth for the top 10%. But life is getting harder for everyone else.
You always make the sacrifices, yet they always reap the rewards. None of this is inevitable.
It's a political choice, your need or their greed.
So it's time everyone in this country who's got a rotten landlord, who's got a low wage, who's got in-work benefits, who's going to a food bank, who can't get a doctor's appointment, who can't get housing. It's about time we all stood up together and said, enough is enough.
This cost of living crisis affects us all.
This is not just about rail workers or cleaners.
Posties, engineers or call centre workers.
Or nurses, or teachers, or firefighters.
It's about you and every workplace and every community across this country.
It's time for a campaign that draws the line.
It's time to say
enough is enough.
Fair pay, affordable bills, enough to eat and a decent place to live. These things are not luxuries. They're your rights.
This is a campaign to bring people together.
For a real pay rise, to slash energy bills, to end food poverty and for decent homes for all, and to finally tax the rich and big business.
If you agree, share this video, spread the word.
And sign up today at WeSayEnough.co.uk.
We can't be divided. We need everybody campaigning for a better deal.
We will be organising rallies, we will be forming community groups, and we will be on picket lines.
We're going to be standing up for ourselves.
We're going to fight.
We're not all in this together, we never have been. The people that are in this together are working class people who've been mugged for far too long.
It's time to say enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
It's time to channel anger into action.
You talked about a general strike. Let's talk before you. Do you have to leave?
In a couple minutes, yeah.
Okay.
I like
Okay, so let's end it on that. Before you leave, though, I think a lot of people on the internet talk about a general strike, and some of those people are well-intentioned. Some of those people don't really know what to do. But as someone who is a part of the union movement in this country, could you briefly detail the difficulties of launching something like that? And that it can't just happen simply on the internet with people being like, okay, I'm not going to go to work tomorrow. And like, let's all promise not to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, for the union movement, sometimes, even unions have to be held accountable. And I think Mick was saying that as well when he said you got to talk to TDU, he said.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. It's like some of the union presidents, myself, Mick as well, he's one of them. We're ready to take that stance.
The TUC.
TUC, that's what he said.
I think, what is it, the Trade Union Commission?
Right.
I
I think that's what he's referring to. So he's saying
Trade Union Congress, sorry.
So for us in America, we got the AFL-CIO. Obviously, Liz Schultz is the president, and she has about 57 unions in that coalition nationwide. Then you have the Teamsters, and then you have, other unions as well, 1199. You got big unions in this country with thousands, even millions of members. Those are the leaders that can really put a real ripple if they shut down their members. What I'm trying to do with the Amazon labor union is the same thing. Where Amazon employs over 1 million workers nationwide. So just imagine if every Amazon worker didn't go to work. The postal workers as well, same thing. Postal service, UPS drivers. These are industries where if we shut down, we can affect everybody else as well. So we have to come together as leaders, union leaders, and figure out when we're going to do that. It's not about when or where or how. It's about when. When are we going to actually do it? Because it has to happen. So I already put out a call to action. I've been talking to people in unions across the country. Get strike ready by 2024. And that goes for everybody in the country. Everybody in the country needs to be strike ready by 2024 because we don't even know what the hell or who the hell we're voting for. So that's where we at.
All right. That's a good note to end it on. Thank you so much, Chris Smalls, for coming. Where can people find you? What do you want to do a call out for? You're raising money for the Amazon Labor Union, obviously.
Yeah.
Where can people find all of that?
At AmazonLaborUnion.org. Hit the donate link. Follow us on Twitter at Amazon Labor. Follow myself at @shut_down Amazon on Twitter, at Chris Smalls on Instagram.
They've been spamming your Twitter link as well, and your Instagram link as well, of course.
Hell yeah, please. Labor Day, New York City. If you're in the New York City area, we shutting the city down. We're going to start at Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks. We're going to march to Jeff Bezos, and then we're going to shut down Times Square. I already made a call to action as well. LA, hit the streets, shut down your city. Let's do it from the East Coast to the West Coast.
All right.
Gang.
Thanks for coming, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, perfect. Okay. I'll be